Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Olson with the National Tile Contractors Association, and thank you for attending today and taking time out of your busy schedule. Appreciate it. Today's webinar, Tile Installation Tools, Slab System for Large Format Tile, is sponsored and presented by Ruby Tools. Before I introduce today's speaker, I need to remind you that during the webinar, you will be muted. Please use the questions area on your computer to type in your questions, and we will answer as many or all of those questions as we can at the end of this presentation. If the audio on your computer is poor, call the number on your invite for this webinar and listen on the phone. All of our webinars are available to watch at any time on the NTCA YouTube channel shortly after the webinars are presented. This should make it easier for you to access and watch all current past programs, including webinars. That'd be great. Today's speaker, here we go. All right, here we go. Today's speaker, Hector Martinez, has been in the tile and stone business for 18 years. Martinez has been with Ruby for the last 4.5 years as the technical manager product trainer. Martinez worked specifically with slab porcelain gauged materials for the last 2 years, helping Ruby Tools launch their program, and it's called the Slab System. Martinez has traveled internationally presenting and demonstrating tools in Mexico and Spain. I want to welcome Hector. I'm very excited to see this presentation, and thank you. Have a good one.
All right, thanks, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here and partner with the NTCA as always. I love speaking about our tools, but especially the slab tools, because that's what's popular nowadays. So as Jim mentioned, my name is Hector, and I will take you through our journey in the tools needed for the slab systems. To start off, I'm going to show you guys just a little video. Ruby this year is celebrating their 70-year anniversary. All right, we invented the first ever tile cutter back in 1951, the Boada brothers, in a little town just outside of Barcelona, Spain, called Ruby, and that's where the name comes from. As you see in the video, there's a factory here there in Barcelona where we make and manufacture about 90% of our tools for the entire world. So if you guys like, check out more of our stories on YouTube, go to our webpage, and help us celebrate our 70 years of being in business with the tile and stone industry. Let's go just a little bit more. And we're at 120 countries. The number one market is Spain, but the number 2 market has been the US, and that's a credit to you and the partners with the NTCA and getting our name out there. So slabs, what kind of sizes do they come in and what kind of thicknesses do they come in? I know it's in millimeters, and that's how most of these slab systems are measured out. But you see the normal person standing in front of your average person standing in front. Slabs can be anywhere from 4 feet by 8 feet, 5 feet by 10 feet. There's stuff out there that's 8 inches wide by 96 inches long, and it comes in many thicknesses: 3 to 4 millimeter, 5 to 8 millimeter, 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter, and then they get bigger still. What are we going to use these slabs for? Well, here we have a couple examples outside of facades. So commercial use is definitely a big hit with these slabs. Think grout joints, bigger surface area, and it just overall a better look. But we also can use it inside for residential. And if you take a look here at this slide, the 12 millimeter is on the kitchen sink, which is the recommended use for sinks. Okay, the 3 to 4 millimeters goes on as cladding. You can clad, in this case, your whole counter, or you can clad wall elevators. But those are going to take the 3 to 4 millimeter slabs. And on the bottom, on the floor, you can't really see it, but the slab usually we use 6 to 8 millimeters. That's what's rated for the floor. And the beautiful thing about these slabs is you can see on the counter that no matter the thickness is, you get the same color and structure. So you can create those veins that go across the whole counter and you get that nice exotic look. So with the slabs, how do we transport them? How do we cut them? How do we manipulate? And how do we install? Well, Ruby is one of many manufacturers that make tools for slabs. Ruby, #1 tile company in the world, but there's also a lot of other manufacturers that make great tools for slab systems. I'm mainly talking about the Ruby ones because that's what I know like the back of my hand here. First off, how do we get the slabs to the job site? Well, there's a couple different ways. The manufacturer of the panels can either send it in a wooden crate horizontally, or they send it in an A-frame, whether it's on your pickup truck or they send an A-frame with a forklift out to the job site. That's how they typically get shipped to the job site. What's necessary is that when we get it to the job site and we move it, we're going to move it to a nice, sturdy, supported table. How do we move our slabs? Well, we have options for that. The first option we have is a Slim Easy Trans. It comes with 10 suction cups. It has a ring underneath for textured surfaces, so to grab onto that better. It also goes from 3 feet out to 10 feet. So those 5 foot by 10 foot slabs is what you're carrying. You can get it up to 10 feet. Now, the maximum load on these Slim Easy Trans is 132 pounds. With that being said, you can add suction cups, and I think you could add maximum of 6 suction cups, and you increase the payload capacity by about 50 pounds. Okay. We also have the crossbars available to help give it better rigidity and to stabilize our panels when we're moving it from point A to point B. The other option is we have the Slab Trans Heavy Duty. The Slab Trans Heavy Duty, same situation, 3 feet to 10 feet, but in this case you get 6 suction cups instead of 10. But these 6 suction cups are vacuum suction cups, and it has a seal around the bottom. This Slab Trans Heavy Duty will hold up to 310 pounds. And unlike our Slab Trans, our Slim Easy Trans, excuse me, you cannot add more suction cups and increase the payload. What gives us the payload on the Slab Trans Heavy Duty is the structure of the frame itself. So the more suction cups you add, you're not adding more weight with the Slab Trans Heavy Duty. And as you see, the Slab Trans Heavy Duty also comes with the 2 crossbars. You don't need to purchase those separately. Now, when we're using the Slab Trans Heavy Duty, I often get asked a question, how do I mount the handles, or which way should I have the handles mounted onto the machine? If you look down, position A1, that's how we recommend to mount it, but it's also what's more comfortable for you. Okay, so position A is how I would have it mounted, but if you're more comfortable going with position A2, that's totally up to you. You can inverse the handles and use them however you please. Like I said, whatever is more comfortable for you. Now the handles also have a sliding position. We can use our Slab Trans Heavy Duty to install vertically on a wall. How do we do that? We simply take the handles you see in position A. We've been carrying it, and now we want to install it on the wall. So we move the handles in. You see position B. It will move in towards the Slab Trans Heavy Duty, and if you notice, you'll see some bumpers, some black bumpers underneath the handles. Well, you will set up your tile up before that bumper, so the bumpers are hitting the ground, and then you can install vertically on a wall. The suction cups. They're 8-inch vacuum suction cups. They hold 242 pounds each, okay? And you might want to do the math on the slab trans heavy duty and say, well, Hector, 242 times 6 gives me this amount. But like I said, it's not each individual suction cup, it's these the slab trans heavy duty structure that gives us the payload capacity. On the suction cup, you have a red indicator. All right, so when you pump it, like your old school Reebok pumps, you pump it, that red line will disappear, and that will let you know that you got a nice suction between your material and your suction cups. Please be advised though, when we're using our suction cups, whether it's the Slim Easy Trans or these vacuum sealed suction cups, we have to clean the material off. We have to clean the suction cups to make sure we don't have any dust. If you have any dust on your material or any dust on your suction cups, it creates a bond breaker, and then you won't get a tight bond with your materials. When you go to move it, it can't fall off or it can't slip off, and you'd have to repump your suction cups. So please make sure to clean your slabs and your suction cups. Now, how do we release the air underneath the vacuum suction cup? On the opposite side of the pump, there's a push button. You simply push, you'll hear the air come out from underneath. And if you look down in the bottom right-hand corner of the vacuum suction cup, you see a pull tab. That's the fail-safe pull tab. So if you're having trouble getting it off your material, you just pull it up and the suction cup will come off. The slab trolley. The slab trolley is an accessory for the slab trans heavy duty. It works in conjunction with the slab trans heavy duty. You can move your tile from point A to point B without having an extra set of hands. It also makes back buttering a breeze, which is very essential to installing these slabs. And here I got a little video to play showing you how we use the slab trans heavy duty in conjunction with the slab trolley. Okay, as I said, it's a separate accessory. It kind of rolls. It's got brakes that we always recommend you use your feet for, never use your hands, but it's got brakes on all four wheels. Okay, that way, when you'll see in this video, we can tip it over onto our table, tip it over to install it on the floor. It's very lightweight. And you can tip it over to install it on the floor without having to break your back, because it is a lightweight aluminum set. Our slab trans heavy duty and our slab trolley are both toolless, so you don't need extra set of tools to assemble it. Here we go. We're taking off a piece off of an A-frame and we're going to put it on our table. As you can see with our table, it's so short that you can just slip it onto the table without having to give extra effort to get it on. Okay, but when we're doing so, we always make sure we put the brake on. Here we're going to back butter on top of our table. We just tipped it over to its backside, and now it's good for back buttering. As I said, makes back buttering easy. We back buttered on top of the slab trolley. When we're using the slab trolley, it's you can leave your piece of panel there hanging for a day. It's not recommended, but you will not lose suction. 24 hours, you can still leave it on there, and you'll come back the next day and it's still hanging on there. So not recommended, but just to give you an idea. Our slab table. Our slab table is necessary for our panels because, like I said, we need a proper support for the slabs. It's also especially true when we go to cut and manipulate our slabs. Okay. Other manufacturers have tables. We have our table. What I think sets us apart is the size. It's 27 inches from the bottom. Okay, so when you're working with our slab trans heavy duty, minimum effort to get it on top of our slab table and get it off. Okay. As I said, it's 27 inches off the ground. It's fast and easy to fix to assemble. Once you have it assembled, it's completely toolless again. You just fold the legs up and you're ready to move it from one place to another or store it away compactly. 1 reference equals 1 table. So if you're working with 10-foot slabs, you're going to need 2 tables to get that to work with our tables. Now, how do we cut these slab panels? Well, we have the slim cutter system here, all right? And what you see here is what you get in on the left-hand side is what you get in the case. You get a nice little pool cue, as I say, bag that has 3 guide rails, and you get a little scoring cart. The scoring cart, we basically took the technology from our tile cutters with the scoring wheels, and we put it on the scoring cart. And once you use it on the scoring cart, it's like using a manual tile cutter, one of like our TX Max, okay? You just score it, and you want to hear you're ripping a piece of construction paper, and you want to see a nice deep white line. Once you hear that sound and you look at that line, it's nice, deep and white, you know you got a good score, and you're able to break it with the nippers below. The nippers on the left-hand side that show 3 to 6, those nippers are good from 3 millimeter to 6 millimeter thick panels. If you need so if you have a 8 millimeter, 10 millimeter, or even 15 millimeter slab, then you got the slim separator, okay? Slim cutter, here are the features. Again, you get the 2 nippers, the 2 suction cups, the scoring cart, and a nice bag to keep it all together, okay? The slim separator is a different accessory, and for me, when I do my trainings, I always tell people, when you're using the slim separator, it's like watching an old school movie where they try to crack open the safe, okay? What happens? They take a doctor's stethoscope, they put it up to the safe, they turn it really slowly until they hear a click. Same kind of motion we're doing here. We make our line, we put our slim separator in, we start turning it until we hear a click, but we turn it nice and slow. We don't want to turn it too fast to where it's going to break off.
Hector?
Yeah.
Hector, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Can you turn off your camera? You're having a little bit of slow internet, and I think if you turn your camera off and just speak, it'll be more clear. Sorry, everybody.
Oh, thank you. Here it is. Here's the motion for the slim separator. Okay, as I stated, you need patience with it. It's not the fastest working nipper, but it gets the job done, especially for those 10, 12 millimeter materials. Okay, you'd be surprised into thinking, hey, you know what? Maybe this isn't something I want to try on these 10 millimeter, 12 millimeter slabs. You actually get a nice clean cut and nice clean finish using the slim cutter in conjunction with the slim separator. Okay. Here we are measuring, we got about 11.2 millimeters. Okay. And it's a simple function. You just find the center, it goes through that little triangle. You put the weights out as far as you can, and you just twist until you hear a pop. Once you hear a pop, you can go to the other side and repeat the process. You don't have to do it at the same time. You don't need to get 2 of these slim separators to do so. But once you hear the pop, you just keep turning until you get the complete break. All right? All right, so your next question is, all right, that's great, but I got to do a miter cut or I got to do a plunge cut inside of my material. How do I do that? Well, here we have the TC125. Okay, here's an up close picture, and here are the specs. Okay, the TC125 is made to be used with our slim cutter system. So if you already purchased a slim cutter guy system in the past, you can just purchase the circular saw, the TC125 circular saw separately, and use it in conjunction with our guides. Okay, but we also sell a kit where you get the 3 rails and you get the circular saw. You also get 2 clamps to hold the tile to clamp the tile to the slim cutter guides, and you also get 2 suction cups to hold on the slim cutter. You know, Ruby, if you know about Ruby and our tile cutters, we like to put our stuff in cases. You also get a carrying case for your TC 125. It takes either a 4.5 or a 5-inch blade, depending on what you have available to you. It does have a regulation for water. You can use water with it, or you can use a vacuum with it. It's got a vacuum hose attachment for it, and you're good for mitering. And it's good for plunge cutting. You can fix both. You can make both of those cuts with this TC 125, and you can see the icons down the middle. This will help you out when you get into it. It's on the box. On our brand new boxes, it's you know, it's slim, it's accurate, it's smooth going. The bearings, it's got 8 bearings. When you go to use it with the slim cutter, you get 7 bearings already touching the guide. So you're gonna assure yourself of an accurate cut. You can use it wet or dry, and it's got the plunge effect, right? And here's a video of the TC 125 in action. All right, it's the TC 125. Like I said, I can explain it all day long, but maybe it's better if you guys see it in person. It's got the water hose adapter there in the back. Okay, you can adjust it for the plunge effect. You just hook up. It comes with a 16mm adapter. You can just use your regular 3/4 inch water hose and plug it into that adapter, and you're good to go. Okay, vacuum hose. We got an adapter in there, so you can use a vacuum hose if you're using the shop vac, or if you have a HEPA vac that you like to use. You know, you can use that as well. Like I said, it comes in a case. There's a vacuum hose attachment. It does come with a porcelain blade. We'll get into the blades that I recommend using for the TC 125 later. But as you can see, we have the guides coming out of the bag. You just assemble it and you're good to go. Now, hopefully 10 feet is the longest we have to deal with. But I know, like my dad used to tell me, you know, back in my day, 13 by 13s was considered a large format. So maybe we will never stop. Maybe we'll keep going past 10 feet. If we happen to get past 10 feet, you can always get an extra guide accessory separately and just keep continually adding until you reach your desired length. Okay, we've got the suction cups down, holding the slim cutter guides down to our material, and now we're just going to make a cut. We're adjusting for the depth. Now, what's critical here is you want to adjust the depth of the blade to just barely come through the other side or the underneath your tile. If you go too low, it can get a little chippy, or it can be a little slow, or it might even stop in the middle of your cut. So we want it to barely come through the bottom of your tile, and that way we ensure ourselves of a nice, good, clean cut. Okay, we're using the vacuum hose attachment on this. Like I said, you can use it wet or dry. It's almost a necessity in your arsenal, mainly because we're doing a lot of miter cuts that are being used with for these slabs. Like I said, great addition to your arsenal. You can do straight cuts with it as well. If you don't feel comfortable just using the slim cutter, you can go ahead and just use the TC 125 for straight cuts as well. Now, the blades that we use, that we recommend, we have the VIP Turbo Mesh. It comes in many different sizes, from 4 inches all the way to 14 inches, and they're all made the same way. It's got a turbo mesh rim. Now, the mesh rim allows for cooler air to enter the blade, so it slows down the heat and nut process. It's also got a reinforced core. So the reinforced core is there to help us out with any wobbling or any extra vibrations that we may incur from our either grinder or TC 125, or if we're using it on a wet saw, any wobbling or vibrations that we get from a wet saw. It's a high-speed blade. Okay, it does It's virtually a chip-free finish. All right, and here we see it in action. You can see we're going to slice this piece of hard porcelain like a hot knife through butter. Okay, it's going to leave us a nice, good, clean edge, finished edge with minimal chip in it. So I say it's virtually chip-free. And this blade is good for any hard porcelain or any hard material, as granite or quartz. And you might run into those kind of slabs with these panel slabs that are going in nowadays. All right. The other blade that we recommend here is the 2-in-1 ECB blade. Okay, this 2-in-1 ECB blade, it's got an electroplated finish on the front side. Okay, so you can cut with the actual disc, with the rim, but you can also bevel around and shape with the face of the blade. It does come in two sizes, 4.5 and 5 inch. It does come in an attachment for a grinder. All you do is you take the 4 Allen head screws off that attachment, and it'll pop off, and you can fit it onto your TC125. Right. Once you're done with one side of the face, though, you can flip the blade over and use the other side to do the rounding and the shaping. Now, the reason why I recommend this blade is for our 45 miter cuts. The Viper is a very good blade. It's probably our best blade, but it's too thin to do a miter cut. So this is the blade I recommend to do the miters with the TC125, because it'll do the work and it'll fit on your TC125. Drill bits, and we'll get into why drill bits are important, but we do make a couple sets of drill bits here. We have the DRYGRES 4 grinder, which is, in its name, it's 4 grinder. They're vacuum brazed bits. They're available sizes from 1/4 inch to 3 inch, and it's got air cooling slots for easy core removal. Below, we have the EASYGRES 4 drill. It's for your drill. It takes a regular 1/2 inch drill with no hammer feature, and it's great for tile, porcelain, stone, and even glass. But you must use it wet. That's the major difference between the two drill bits. It's what's in your toolbox if you just have a grinder or if you have a drill, and what's available to you. So you can use either or. I always say wetter is better. So when I'm cutting through my slabs, I always want to use my diamond bits wet. So I would use the TC125 wet with that blade. I will use the EASYGRES 4 drill wet. But at the same time, the DRYGRES, you can use it wet as well. It just doesn't have a special feature to pull the water in. You probably just need to pour your water bottle over or use a sponge. Now, why is our drill bits important? Well, typically in regular size tile, we need to make punch outs for electrical outlets or switch plates or whatever we need it for, right? And we typically just take our grinder and make a square cut. With the slabs, there's so much tension in these slabs that you may look at it and say, Hector, it's 3 millimeters thin. How much tension can there be? There's a lot of tension in here. So if you were to make an L-shaped cut or a punch-out cut without drilling a hole, what could happen? It could fracture and break your slab, making it useless or use it for scraps. So what do we do to combat that? We take a drill bit no smaller than 3/8 of an inch, and in each joint or each pivot point, we drill a hole. Then we come back with either our TC125 or our grinder with the appropriate blade, and we connect the dots and make the fitting. Delta leveling system. Here we have, this is what we use and recommend for the slabs system. We do have something coming out later this year, and we'll unveil it at surfaces that you can use as well. But we have a clip and wedge system. Okay, the clip and wedge system is great to use in conjunction with the slab, the slab panels. All right, we're gonna have Joaquin, who is one of our most noted video presenters and very noted around the world. He travels everywhere, making videos and doing trainings like I would be. But we have 4 different sizes available now. We have 1/32, we have 1/16, we have 1/8, and we have I want to say 3/32, which is black. I'll just skip to using it. Also, we came up with a feature for the gun to enhance it and make it better. Instead of using wing nuts, we're just using a ratchet system. And you easy fix it to where you need to use it. Okay. The differences between ours and others out there is we make and manufacture in our Ruby house. In our Ruby house, yes, we do, but we make it with a special type of plastic, and we also have a patent on the clips where at the bottom it's 45 degrees instead of straight down. So when you go to break it off, what's going to happen? It's going to break off easier, and you're not going to have a clip in the middle of your porcelain panel job. Okay, you don't have to go fishing for it to get it out of the grout joint. All right. We do like to play nice with others. As I said, many manufacturers make a similar system. You can use our clips with their wedges, and you can use our wedges with their clips. All right. So don't feel like you just have to buy the Ruby Delta leveling system to use with your existing clip and wedge system. Okay. Joaquin is just here. He's going to finish installing the Delta leveling system. We're going to show you with the wedge. You know that it's not. There's no lippage. Now, I'm going to stand on my little soapbox here and say that it's not a leveling system. It's an anti-lippage system. So when you're doing your panels, you still need to make sure that you get your substrate nice and flat. Now, I know Jim and the NTCA and other manufacturers have preached that. Get your substrate nice and flat. The leveling system is there to level out, help level out the tile. There's bends in tile. It helps bring that down into your motor and secure it. So it's not a cure for an uneven floor. You still must level out your floor, and then you use the system to get that tile to be even. Ruby Mix. Here is our mixing drill. It's one of my favorites because I started out bucket and trowel guy, and as a helper, they'd always tell me to go mix the motor, go mix the thin set. So here we have the Ruby Mix 9. It's got 2 speed regulator. The first gear is 0 to 650 RPMs. The second gear is 0 to 850 RPMs. Why is that important? With manufacturers like Mapei or Latitude or Ardex, whoever you use, they have designed their motor, their thin set, their mix to work with specific chemicals using specific speeds and specific amount of water. And we must follow what they state on the back of their bags. So you check Mapei for their thin set, it might need the first gear, but for the grout, you might need a higher RPM setting. So it's always important that we follow what those manufacturers say for their specific adhesive. Now, the other thing I like about it is the ergonomic handle, easy to hold. There's a security switch, so it doesn't start until you want it to start. The M14 threaded panel, it screws in instead of just tightening it around with the end of the mixing drill. Okay, but we know that not a lot of people carry threaded paddles, and you might be in a pinch where you either forgot it, you lost it, or whatever happened. We do include a chuck. You thread the chuck in, and then you can use any kind of mixing paddle out there. Okay. What I like about it is the helix design. The helix design at the bottom, what it does, it takes the surrounding adhesive in your bucket, takes it up through the top, it comes down through the bottom and disperses it. So you just go around the perimeter and you make sure you got a good mix. Now, the Ruby Mix 9 is one of my favorites, but we do have a new Ruby mix coming out. It's going to be called the Super Torque. Again, we're going to launch it at surfaces, so be on the lookout for that as well. Other installation tools, the tile beading block. This is what's going to help us get the air from out underneath our slabs. Okay, it's pretty important that we get the air out. You know, Mark from the NTCA always says, you know, a 100-pound woman wearing a heel can put so many pounds of pressure that if her heel finds an air spot in the tile, it will puncture through that tile. It doesn't take a lot of as much weight as you think that it would. And what creates that is the air from underneath. Okay. Next, we have the European trowel. This is the trowel that I always recommend that we use when using these slabs. Okay. You know, back in the day, I don't want to sound like you know, some of you out there might be a lot older than I am, but for the large format tiles, you know, you were told to use a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch trowel to get, you know, to get the coverage that you need. And I'll leave that aspect to the Mapeas and Arctics and Laticretes of the world to talk about coverage. All right, but the reason why I recommend this is because when you finish installing your tile, you have to collapse the ridges. If you can imagine a 1/2 inch ridge that you have to collapse on a piece that's 5 feet wide by 10 feet long, it ain't gonna collapse much. It ain't gonna move. You're gonna need a lot of force to get that to move. So the European trowel has like a zipper design, okay? Those ridges make it so it takes minimal movement to get those ridges to collapse, to ensure that we get the 100% coverage that we need underneath our tile. Now, if you look to the right, we have a picture on how you're supposed to trowel. Far left, we have circular motion. In the middle, we have the trowel lines going the longest distance. And on the right-hand side, we have the trowel marks going the shortest path. We always want to trowel the shortest path to let the air travel out. To get air, the shortest path to travel out from underneath the tile when we collapse our ridges. Okay, it's important that we do that. Like I said, we don't want these pieces are nice and beautiful. They're also expensive, so you don't want any pieces to break while you're installing them. Down at the bottom, we have hand polishing pads. When you score and cut or this tile with our slim cutter, it's very sharp. I've cut myself many a times because I didn't follow proper PPE and OSHA protocol and wearing gloves I'm supposed to. But after I make a cut, I can run my finger and it's like getting 1,000 little paper cuts on your finger. Okay, it gets very sharp. How do we dull the edge? We use our hand polishing pads. We have 4 available. We got 2 here, but we have 4 available. 60 grip, 120, 200, and 400. And how we use them, you can use them dry, or how I like to use them is I have a bucket of water next to me. I'll dunk it in the water, and I'll start polishing the edge. We also use this when we do our miter cutting. Now, you use a TC125 or any other machine like it, you're always going to have to clean up the edge a little bit, right? Well, these hand polishing pads do a tremendous job of getting those edges nice and clean. Other installation tools, replaceable grout float. It's got a 45 beveled edge, so it's easy to get in the corners. It's easy to get in. It's easy to get your extra grout off the floor and into your bucket. It's rubber, so it will not scratch or mark your tile. We also have the Ruby Clean Bucket below, which we found out makes cleaning fast and easy, and it cuts down by 50% in time. Okay, because we're not sitting there wringing out our sponge after each use. We just pass over the rollers and ready to go again. Well, that has been our presentation. Please make sure you come check us out at Vegas at Surfaces or in Orlando at Coverings. We will be showing off some new tools, some new product, but also make sure that you see our other friends in the business. Like I said, we're not the only ones who make and manufacture slab tools. Other companies have them as well. Go ahead, they always have stuff coming out as well, just like we do. Go ahead and check them out. Make sure you go online to ruby.com and download our latest catalog. If you can't make it out to Surfaces or Coverings, our latest catalog will have all the new products that we have coming out. If you have any questions later down, the line, feel free to reach out to me, hmartinez@ruby.com. It's very easy, and I'll turn it over to Jim.
What I like, Hector, great job. Appreciate your presentation. What I like about it is you're showing a lot of tools, a lot of new tools. Obviously, the Ruby tools, and we know there's many manufacturers of tools, but I love the fact that you actually demonstrated, you show video of demonstrating some of them being used, and I think that's really important. Hector, we only have one question at this point, and anybody out there that wants to put a question in, please type it into the chat, the question screen, not the chat screen, but there's a question screen. Please just go ahead and type it in there. But I know you do a lot of these trainings around the world, in Spain and Mexico. Are you doing hands-on classes, in-person training here in the US? And if so, when are they? One of our attendees asked, when will you have an in-person program here?
Okay. Yes, we are doing it in the US. In fact, just last week, we did one in conjunction with the NTCA in Richmond, Virginia. Okay. I think the next one with the NTCA is going to be Logan Township, New Jersey. It will be at the same time as Surfaces, but I think they still have that show going on.
Hector, do you have a schedule somewhere? Do you have like a website they would be able to go to and find that?
They can go to the NTCA, website, and they have it all. They have all the dates listed and the areas there will be. It's totally free for everyone to go and get these classes. But if you look at the schedule and you don't see anything popping up near you, get in contact with me. I'll get in contact with your favorite distributor and we can set something up.
Hector, why don't you do this? Give me your email address real quick. I'll put it on the question screen, okay?
Yeah, it's H Martinez
at Ruby Tools?
At ruby.com, RUBI.
Ruby.com, okay. Oh, let's see here. Hold on a minute. I just sent it back to you. Sorry, everybody. Here we go. This is going to go to everybody now. All right, so I just put Hector's email address on there. If you have questions or you want to know when to schedule events coming, maybe to an area close to you that you can get to, please reach out to Hector, reach out to Ruby, look at the NTCA calendar, and you'll see where these events are and what's going on.
One thing, Jim.
That is all.
One thing, Jim, I just want to add. At our trainings, the NTCA is very hands-on, but if your distributor wants to plan something, don't be shy. You're there to learn. We learn the best by getting hands-on experience. If we don't do that, then when you go to the job site, you're gonna like, all right, what did Hector do? What did Hector do? No, we want you to come out and try our tools, try the material, and get comfortable with it. The slab panels, they're not going anywhere. They're just getting started. It's gonna boom all over the USA, and it's gonna be in high demand. So learning how to do so and how to manipulate these panels is gonna give you the advantage over everyone else.
So, okay, great. So we do have another question or a comment here. It's talking about mortar troweling and spreading your mortar in one direction, not swirling, not different directions, one direction.
Right.
I noticed that you mentioned troweling the short distance. If you have a 12 by 24, you go on the 12-inch side, across the 12-inch side, and whatever. But one of the things on this question that has to do is trowel spreading directions for back buttering in the same direction, floor and back side. So I think what his question is, on these large gauge porcelain tile panels, you have to back butter the tile also? And do
Right.
you go in the same direction as the wall or floor that you're putting it onto, or do you go a different direction?
Same direction. We're same direction. So if we're doing horizontal, let's say this way, we're going up and down, and it's going to zip tie in together once we install it.
Perfect, perfect. Well, Hector, you and Ruby did a great job here. You showed some great tools, things for people to look and how to use them to make their job easier and make more money. That's what this is all about, right? Making money. So
Right.
please, everybody, thank you for attending. Hector, great job. Thank you. I appreciate everything. And you guys look forward to our next webinar coming up here in a couple weeks. The invites will go out shortly, but I really appreciate this, Hector. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your weekend.
All right.